What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down, what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve is up 7.39%, 278 the high, 259 the low, and a lot of volume. So within the first about 1 hour of the trading day, we're seeing about 6.5 million shares being traded. So definitely good to see, because I know that's one thing that Rezolve has been kind of hit with, and that's a lower and lower volume lately. But aside from that, we did have one data point. So S&P Global Manufacturing came in at 51.8 in line with the forecast. So signals that we are still in a expansionary stage. Market doesn't seem to care about this whatsoever though, because the market's already kind of booming prior to this data point. And a lot of that has to do with analysts giving bullish kind of sentiments to AI. And I think over the last week and a half, we've been unjustly hit, especially a lot of high growth multiple stocks, including Rezolve. So ultimately, we are seeing that FOMO really kicking in because people see a lot of upside for 2026. And I think that's kind of reasonable to assume. Specific to Rezolve, though, there hasn't been any SEC filings, no press releases today. They did post this on social media, just saying as we enter 2026, the world of commerce is undergoing one of the most profound shifts yet. The convergence of AI, blockchain-enabled trust, embedded finance, and conversational commerce is transforming how people discover, engage with, and buy products. And I couldn't agree more. So I don't think anyone is ever arguing that this sector that Rezolve is in is going to be stagnant. I think we all know it's going to expand. Rezolve, hopefully on the 13th, will be able to shut up a lot of the bears, and including myself, about a lot of the negative attributes of Rezolve. So potentially big things will be coming in roughly around a week and a half time frame from now. There is a lot of bullish articles that did come out associated to Rezolve. One was this right here. And so it just says that 3 strong buy small cap stocks with over 100% upside for 2026. And again, with right around the corner on the 13th, that could be that kind of catalyst that Rezolve needed to really kickstart it to really push higher and potentially hit that 100%, if not a lot more than that. So that's definitely good. One thing I don't like about a lot of these articles is if you actually like a lot of stats and kind of good reasoning, you're not going to get these. And I think that's a bad thing about a lot of more and more articles lately, is that they just take data. They probably don't even write them themselves in reality. What they do is they take a lot of data and get AI to make kind of articles. Because if you're wanting to find out why this 𝗪𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗧, whatever name is that, if you want to find out why they think that Rezolve is a strong buy, you scroll down and all it does is it just refers you to the analyst ratings. And yes, a lot of the analysts that have given ratings on Rezolve are extremely bullish, but I think a lot of the firms that have given ratings on them are just B grade ones, and most likely they gave ratings because of Rezolve participating in their fireside chats. So I do believe that Rezolve is going to do a lot of good things in the foreseeable future, but to say that it's a strong buy without actually giving any actual credible data or even referring to kind of their guidance, which is a big thing for Rezolve, it's just a lot of crap. Whatever. But still, let me know your general thoughts on that. Nonetheless, this is also one attributing factor why Rezolve is actually moving higher, and that's through algorithmic trading, because AI reads a lot of this and signals it as bullish. So of course it starts to move higher, because so far today we're only seeing one transaction occurring on the secondary market above $100,000, and it is a buy for $645,000. So good to see. But this is why if you're ever looking at this type of data, which right now Rezolve's up 8.17%, you would assume that big money is just loading the boat, but that's not necessarily the case. Algorithmic trading is one of the biggest things that's moving and has been moving Rezolve. So like I said, one transaction, it is a buy, so that's definitely good to see. And 4 transactions so far occurring on the dark pool. So dark pool is often enough used by shorts as well as hedge funds. One right here, 137,000, that's a whole number, so 50,000 shares. Most likely that is a hedge fund. Everything else is probably associated to shorts. So right now shorts are returning about 3,000 shares. When I was preparing for this video, they were actually increasing about 200,000. So they are fairly active today. 22.27% of the free floats being shorted, works to be 26.45 million shares overall being shorted. Over the last couple of trading days, I've seen some individuals online saying that Rezolve is a squeeze play only because of their upcoming kind of analyst and investor call on the 13th. And that will be a deterrent for shorts. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. If Rezolve is able to come out and really hit it home and kind of reconfirm their guidance and how they did in 2025, then yeah, shorts logically would return. Because I think just generally, I've done a post on this on my Patreon where hypothetically, if even like I think it was like about 70% of what they stated as far as ARR to be accurate, then they should be roughly around that $7 range. So again, if you actually think it's fully achievable, or if they're going to exceed that, similar to what they mentioned in a previous post for 2025, then technically it would be higher than $7, or at least it should be. So just wanted to let you know about that. DTC being 1.1 days, so it does really signal that shorts are overextended. So nonetheless, I wouldn't hold my breath for a short squeeze, but honestly, I think Rezolve could be a viable candidate for that. So do your own due diligence and all the other fun jazz. I personally don't really like investing in stocks just for the squeeze aspect. You have to have at least like the fundamentals behind it, because I think anyone getting into a stock just for it to squeeze might be rather disappointed more commonly than not. But looking at the options, 125,000 in calls, 7,500 in puts. So this is a little bit low in comparison to the common stock, but 78% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 3 in the foreseeable future. Bears are anticipating, there's not really much activity, to be fully honest. Most of it, they're anticipating 3 and then sub 250 by the foreseeable future. But aside from that, with it at 278, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So for those of you that are day traders, swing traders, just watch for 283 and 264 to be the next strong support and target. So if Rezolve is able to get above that 283, then you could see possibly that $3 range coming sooner rather than later. Aside from all of that fun stuff, quickly popping right over here on the actual chart itself, it is now successfully above that 10-day moving average, signaling that's starting to build up a little bit of momentum. Looking at the market position, you do see a lot more willing buyers, so that's always a positive thing, and no new analyst ratings on a side note. So Rezolve, I think overall is doing fairly well. It just, I know I've mentioned this numerous times over the last couple videos of mine, but that call is going to be a very, very big deal, because if they can actually prove and kind of really sell what they're doing, then people, more and more people might kind of jump on board. So let me know your viewpoint on that. And are you buying? Are you selling? What's your kind of general thoughts? And so nonetheless, as well, I do feel that this is a pretty sweet way to start the year. So 2026. So my first Rezolve video. And so hopefully, like I said, big things are going to be coming for Rezolve in the foreseeable future. So let me know your thoughts. One final thing, if you're looking for some solid on-point buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. I put out some absolute bangers. A lot of them kind of fly under the radar as well. I don't always like to choose kind of mainstream media type of stocks because they tend to get manipulated in some capacity. So I like to choose kind of no name and whatever, and they do absolutely on point. So worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.